There's a method to the madness here.
Ah, that wasn't good. Okay.
This is a Canadian show, so we always fix everything with duct tape.
I can do it, right? I can do it. It's not that I can't do it. It's just that I don't want to do it.
I really don't know what I'm doing, I guess is what I'm telling you. I'm just, like my channel says, I'm a tinkerer, man, a mad tinkerman.
Okay, well, you know what? We're back in the garage and we have a fun job to do. It's going to be fun because I'm really looking forward to the result of this job. So if you recall in the last episode, we went through the clutch and took it apart, found that it was just incredibly poorly adjusted, and we fixed all of that up and put it back together again, and it is working great. It's working as it originally did in 1977. But you know what? The clutch handle is really hard to depress, and I guess I'm just a wimp, but it takes a lot of force to actually depress that clutch handle. It works great. I took it for about a 25-mile ride, zero issues, no problem with it. So functionally it works good. It's just really hard to depress. So anyways, based on the advice that a lot of you have given me, a lot of folks, and I do appreciate all of the advice in all the comments, I'm going to today install a seven disc clutch kit. And the one I'm using, I know a lot of you use and recommend Hyde. I'm here on the west coast of Canada, near Vancouver, and a little bit, so not that I couldn't get it, I could wait 3 weeks for shipping and yada yada, but anyways, I've chosen to get an Aerco kit, which is apparently very, very similar to the Hyde. There's a lot of guys that have nothing but great things to say about it, so I'm hopeful it works for me. We're going to find out. So anyways, let me just, I want to go and show you a little bit about how this is going to work, but I'm not going to go into great detail because I already did the video on the clutch repair. Obviously, this is very, very similar, taking it apart, putting it together, yada yada. So this is going to be a pretty short video. And for those that may want more information about taking things apart, putting them back together again, I would recommend the other video. Just go to the playlist and you'll see all the videos on the 1977 Triumph T140v that I've done. And yeah, so anyways, you know what, without rambling on here too much more, I just want to get after it. Let's go and get some work done. Okay, before we actually dig into the work here, I just wanted to very quickly show you a little bit of the preparatory work that I've done. This is I've got the plates for the Aerco 7-disc clutch kit sitting in a bath of oil, and I've had them in there since about, 9 p.m. last night, something like that. So they have been in there for a goodly amount of time soaking away. I know a few of you have suggested going and soaking them or rubbing them down with lithium grease first. You know what, I have some, but it's kind of for, I think it's chain lube for a motorcycle, and probably not the right thing. I don't actually want to risk using something that I'm not absolutely sure is the right thing, and maybe next time I will use the white lithium grease trick, but I just don't have any on hand right now. So I'm doing the 2050 motorcycle oil, just, this stuff right there. That's the Castrol 2050 motorcycle oil, and which is the same oil that I'm using in the engine of the bike, yes, as well obviously the primary. So that's the oil and the preparation we've done to soak the discs. Now the other thing I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you that on the tripod here in a moment, is we're going to determine a before and after on this thing. I don't know if anybody's ever done this before, but what we're going to do is we're going to use, my grandfather's scale here from, thing is probably 100 years old. We're going to use that to measure how much force it takes to depress that clutch right now with the old clutch kit in place. The regular 6-disc clutch kit, and we're then going to measure it again at the end of the video here with the 7-disc clutch kit, so that we can hopefully get some quantitative, not just anecdotal information about it being better, but some actual quantitative data around, how much better actually is it. So anyways, that's what we're going to give a shot to, and let's do that next. Okay guys, so what we're going to do, what the process is I'm going to take the scale here, and I'm going to give it a pull, and we're going to find out just where it's at. And I'm actually going to need your help with this because I'm not going to be able to read this very well, so I'm going to need you guys to pay attention to that. In fact, I'm going to have to play the video back to figure it out myself a little bit because I'm going to be pulling it from the other side of the bike. But before we do that, just because I don't want any clusters, you know what that means, I'm going to cover the tank pretty carefully here in case that thing slips out of my hand. I don't want to rake it across the entire tank. So yeah, so let's do that next. Okay guys, let's give this a shot here. So I'm just looping this onto the handle, and I'm going to give this a pull, and you're going to tell me what it takes to go and actually get that thing to press. Boy, she is hard to pull. Wow, holy smokes. There we go. What is that? That looks like about 40 pounds of pressure. Yeah, so that's a lot. I mean, if I can do it, right? I can do it. It's not that I can't do it, it's just that I don't want to do it. So, yeah, so anyways, let's take a look now. I don't know for sure what that reading was. You guys are going to have to tell me. I was looking at the thing backwards and askew, so I'm thinking it's 40 pounds. I'm now going to look at the video and see what it really was. Okay guys, I've had a quick look at that video and I think I was wrong. I don't think it was quite 40 pounds. Best I can tell, I got to apologize. I guess my filming wasn't absolutely spot on there. It was a little bit of an angle, but best I can tell, it was about 37 or 38 pounds of force. I was more than 35, but it wasn't quite 40, I don't think. So that's my best guess. I think that's what we'll go with. I mean, at the end of the day, we're going to do exactly the same test again when we put the new one in, so it all should be relatively relative. So anyways, you know what, now the next thing is I'm going to already drain the oil out of the primary. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to take it all apart, but I'm going to do that all on fast forward. We'll do it, you'll see it, but it's going to go real quick. Okay, we've got the cover off. So, yeah, we put a little bit of, you know, when I put this on, the gasket was actually broken. I put a tiniest little amount of anaerobic gasket maker just in that section there, and that was really holding it up. So I think I'm going to know not to use anything going forward, just the gasket. I've got a new gasket for this job, so that's what we're going to do. All right, so now that we've got that off, now we can take our adjusting nut. We can back that off of the pressure plate, and we can start taking our you know, our nuts off as well, the nuts that hold the springs. So that's what we are going to do here now. Okay guys, before we actually go ahead and assemble these, I am going to assemble, or kind of test assemble, the steels and the you know, and the fibers together. And the reason I'm going to do that is just to get an accurate height for the actual assembly. So probably don't need to actually, you know, for this to actually assemble them, but you know, I'm going to. So we're just going to do one at a time here. Obviously, we're going to be putting them in the bike separately, but I want to measure the total height of the stack, because one of the tips that one of the gentlemen gave me in the comments was to actually do this measurement. So I want to do that and find out what it is. Now apparently it should be about 1.4 inches. So again, these are all new steels and the Aerco 7 disc kit. So that's what we've got going here. These are a little stuck together because of all the oil atoms sitting in. And then we'll just grab the caliper and we'll measure it up and see what we get. Alright, just about there. Okay. Alright, so I think I've got that completely backwards because it would go into the bike like that, but at the end of the day the height's going to be right. So anyways, let me just grab the caliper. Okay, let's see what we measure on this thing. I don't know if you guys are going to see this or not, but we're gonna give this a go. Obviously, the oil, the little bit of oil there is going to make, you know, some little bit of difference between each of the plates, but rough enough for us. And look at that, pretty darn close. Okay, I am measuring that. It's supposed to be, with a standard kit, I believe the measurement is 1.4 inches. We are at 1.35 and a bit. Oh, 1.36. Just trying to get an accurate measurement. Yeah, it's closer to 1.36. So call it 3/100ths of an inch different. So what that means is that we can probably, that'll come into play when we tighten this down. So, okay, good. So that's good to know. So I'm going to make note of that number. Just make sure I've got it right here. Yeah, 135.8. I think we're going to call that, round it up and call it 136 for 1.36 inches for our purposes. So, yeah. Again, leave me comments below as to what you think about that measurement. I'm not sure if these steels are standard thickness as well. So I've got one of the old ones here, if I can even tell. Let's measure that just for the heck of it, eh? Let's measure the old and the new. Let's see what we got. So the steels, here's an old steel. And on that I have 0.08 of an inch. Yeah, depends on. Yeah, 0.08, we'll call that, yeah. Is that correct? Yeah, 0.08 of an inch, thereabouts. Okay, and on the old, actually let's just do them one at a time. So then the new one, that was 0.08 of an inch. The new one is, oh, a little bit less. So 7.5, okay. So what is that, 0.75 of an inch? Is that right? No, that's not right. You guys are yelling at your screen. Anyways, 0.07 1/2, whatever that is. Okay, so they are, like, you know, tiny little bit thinner on the new steels. So let's try our old traditional, what appears to be OEM. If I didn't see it had no wear on it, I'd almost think it was original. The thing is, it looks ancient, and it looks like it's, yeah, anyways, won't go on about that, but it looks, this is original. So this is 15.45. Let me just do a different measurement just in case we got a weird pad. 15.45. So again, 0.1545 inches. What is a new one? Obviously it's narrower, but what is it? What's the thickness? Oh, that's a lot different. Look at that, 0.111 inches. So that's a significant difference. So between the friction plates and the steels, we have a significant difference there. So that is what is going to help us out. The other thing that's going to help us out with this clutch, apparently, again, I don't know anything, I'm just taking your guys' advice on this, is to actually put in new springs. Now I also got new cups as well, because I noticed these cups, as you guys know, all have little tabs on them that go into the pressure plate. And I noticed a couple of mine were a little messed up. So I decided for the little bit of extra money to get the new cups as well. And these are, and I know some of you guys are not going to think this was the right thing to do, but again, I've done this on the good advice of many others, is I've used 500cc springs here, which is part number 571560 for the springs, and I believe that's part number is 500cc springs. I know a lot of guys say you can you can use 650. There's a fair bit of debate, like all of the stuff online, as to what the right thing is to use. For rightly or wrongly, I decided to go with the 500cc springs because a lot of guys using the Aerco kit specifically, which is what I'm using, say these are the right springs to get. In fact, 2 different parts distributors say that, plus a number of gentlemen, or ladies too, I'm not sure, online have said the same thing. So anyways, rightly or wrongly, that's the setup we're going to go with. So okay, let's now assemble it all back in the bike. Okay guys, let's assemble this Aerco kit, and so really it's just a matter of, you know, putting these in one at a time, starting with a friction plate. So that's what we're going to do, and just slide her in there. Okay, so we've got all of the new Aerco plates in there. We started with a friction plate and ended with a steel, and we've got 7 of each of those in there. So now the next thing to do is to put our new cups in, and to get our new cups in we first need to take the old cups out. So let's do that. There's 1, 2, and 3. And again, the reason I'm changing them is only because, I'm not sure you guys can see this, but on some of these are the little, whatever you want to call it, indent on the cup itself has been boogered. So because we're doing this work, it probably isn't a huge deal, but I thought, what the heck, let's go and change them out with some new ones. So that's what we're doing. Okay. Let's grab our stuff here. I'll put down a piece of paper. We don't want to introduce any foreign objects into this procedure, so I'll try to be a little bit clean with it. So I'm just going to grab these and just pop them in. Hopefully they have a nice snug fit. That's the hope, that's the dream. Yeah, there's 1. 2. And 3. We have our adjusting that well backed off, so that's where we want that nicely backed off. So now we're just going to pop this on here. Like that. Stay in there. That's good. Okay, and then our springs. And we'll grab our nuts. Just grabbing them out of the perts. The magnetic perts tray here. A couple of them are hiding. I've got 2. Where's number 3? I know you're in there. Ah, there we go. He was in there, he was just hiding. Okay. Okay, so now we'll just get these started on each one. I'm just using a big screwdriver to get them started. Try not to send it across the garage floor as I'm doing this. That's always a good idea. It's 2 started. My hands are a little oily here. I probably should have cleaned my hands first. Everything's slippery. I don't know why. The last one is always the hardest. Why is that? I don't know. Maybe it's the anticipation. Okay, well the first thing we're going to do here is we're going to adjust our center pressure plate. And again, there's a bit of variance of opinion on how best to do this. Some guys say to go down here until you hit resistance, which I'm feeling right there, and then backing it off between half and a full turn. I think someone said if you do that in 5/8 is what they like. So there's all kinds of variants of opinion. Others say to turn it until you feel resistance, or actually see the plate move slightly, and then back it off. So I'm frankly not sure, to be honest with you. If you've got, just looking for that movement, and I can just see that plate moving slightly. I'm going to get my glasses on so I can see this a little bit more accurately. So, last time we assembled it, I just did the friction and turned it back out. But I think the whole idea of doing it until you feel this thing move is maybe not a bad idea. Yeah, I feel friction there, and I think it moves right about there. So let's take the midway point between those two. Here we go. Good. So we're past friction, but we're before the actual lifting. Maybe a little bit more actually. Hang on. Yeah, I'm going to leave it right about there, and then I'm going to back it out half a turn. We'll go half a turn. And then we'll tighten it up. Yeah, and again, in the comments, hey guys, let me know. I'm sure there's lots of opinion on doing this. So let me know your thoughts.
got the plugs out of this thing, so. Oops. Okay. Just looking at our setup here with the plates, and I think this one needs a little bit more. It's not in as far as the others. We're of course going to adjust the wobble in a minute, but I want to get them at a decent starting point first. So, and actually we should probably do the wobble before we actually do the adjustment, shouldn't we? Yeah, we probably should. So, let me have another look at that.
Okay, we've got all the friction plates and all the steels in there. We've got our, our pressure plate installed and the springs and cups. So we've done all that. Now the next thing to do is actually to check for wobble before we do our final adjustments. So I do not have a dial gauge, but I do have duct tape and an old work chair and a pencil. So that's what we're using today. This is a Canadian show, so we always fix everything with duct tape at some point or another. So I've got this set up pretty close at the moment, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the camera on a tripod. You guys are going to actually have a better view of this than what I do. And then we're going to spin the engine over. We're going to have it in 5th gear and spin it over so that we can actually see how much wobble we get. Hopefully we don't get too much, but whatever we get, we're going to try to adjust it out of the system. So let's get after it. Okay guys, let's give this a go. There's a method to the madness here. And I gotta say, that looks really good. And you know what? This is not me editing. That's actually really incredible. You know what? From here, I'm behind the camera and I don't have the advantage of zoom like you guys do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna look at this video on a really big screen on my computer and just see if this is as accurate as it looks like from here. But you know what? I don't see any wobble there whatsoever from the distance I am at the back of the bike. So I will be right back after I take a look at this. Okay, I took a look at it on my computer, and the resolution of that video wasn't terribly good because I had it zoomed in and just had the settings wrong on the camera. So I'm going to do this again. I've not touched it at all, but we're going to do exactly the same thing again to see if we have a bit of a better look at it, and just to validate the fact it doesn't need any adjusting. Seems really weird to me that I got it bang on first try. I guess the only thing about it I'll say is that I did go and adjust them all to where I thought they were the same distance. As I mentioned, I did it all to the very bottom slot of the adjusting nuts. And you know what? That has got to be bang on. I don't think I can get it any better than that with my arrangement here. If I had a dial gauge or something else, then yeah, I guess you could. But I think this is good enough. And from what I understand online is most people say that if you can't see the difference, you're kind of okay. But in any event, I mean, worst case, we take the cover off and redo it, right? So, yeah, which isn't really, I'm not too concerned about that. So, I think we're going to call this good. Bizarre. I was going to demonstrate adjusting these things, but you know what? I'm not going to mess with them. They seem to look good to me. Let me know in the comments, guys. Is this good or is this terrible? Let me know. I'd really like to know. Okay guys, so now what we need to do is do our adjustment. We're happy with our fact we've got like no wobble or no perceptible wobble that I can see. And now what we're going to do is we're going to do our adjustment here. Now again, like everything with these bikes, there seems to be a variety of opinion on how to do this adjustment. Some guys say to turn this down until you actually see the pressure plate lifting, and then to back it off. Others say just until you feel friction. So it's really hard to know what the right thing to do is, but I'm just looking at it here, and so there's just it's quite a difference in adjustment. It's quite an amazing difference. So for instance, you can see what I'm doing here. Okay, so I'll tell you when I feel friction. Okay, right there.
I feel friction. Okay, let's count the turns until I actually see. What I'm doing is you probably can't see this, but I'm looking at this leading edge to see the pressure plate lift. And as soon as I see any fraction of a movement there at all, I'm going to stop. Okay. So. I'm just going to try that again. So there's friction. And there's movement right about there. So what's the difference there? That difference is about, rough numbers, a quarter of a turn, I'd say. Last time I did this till I did friction, and then I turned it back about 3/4 of a turn. What I think I'm going to do is I think I'm going to turn this back. There was one gentleman online that seems to be very knowledgeable, and he says to turn about 5/8 of a turn. So that's what I'm going to do, and I'm going to do it from the point that I saw it, the friction plate moving, which is right here. So I'm going to turn this back about 5/8. Let's do a half and 5/8. Okay, a little bit less than 3/4, so that would be 3/4. That's probably about 5/8 there. Yeah, let's button it up there and call that good. Ah, that wasn't good. Okay, maybe we'll edit that out. Okay guys, well, we have the bike all together, and you know what? It is a beautiful day here today. So I think we're going to actually go and take it for a ride. We've done a lot of work on it over the last number of weeks, including changing the oil pump, redoing the carbs, or at least getting the slides unstuck and completely cleaning them out. Obviously a whole bunch of electrical work. We've timed the bike, we've changed the plugs. We've done all kinds of work. We sealed the exhaust pipes, and and of course, most recently, we have changed out the clutch. So that's I think it's now time to actually take this thing for a spin, and I want to take you guys along so you can see what what it's like. This will be my first time trying to film on a motorcycle, so we'll see how this goes, at least on a Triumph motorcycle anyways. So we'll see how it goes. Not my expertise, but hopefully this next video will give you a bit of a sense of what it's running like. The other thing we're going to do, if you remember at the top of the video, we tested out how much pressure, how much effort it took to actually depress the old original clutch that was in this. And it was about, rough numbers, about 38 pounds of pressure that we measured. We're now going to do that test again with the new clutch and the new handle now that we have it set up, and just see what we get there. So let's do that next. Okay guys, so we're going to give this a go. Again, I've protected the tank here because I'm a little concerned, paranoid actually, that this is going to slip off of here and do some damage to the tank. So I've got that on there just to hedge against that potential. So let's just see what it takes to actually squeeze this. And look at that. That is, again, I'm gonna have to look at the video to see, but that looks to be less than 20 pounds. In fact, that looks to be about 18 pounds of pressure. So let's just try that one more time. Okay. Yeah, again, you guys are seeing this better than I am, but that is way less than the almost 40 pounds of pressure it took before this job. So that is the Aerco 7-disc clutch. That's the difference. So it's literally less than half the effort to squeeze that clutch. So that's really, that's really good. I'm pretty happy with that. So you know what? Let's not talk about it too much more. It's now time to take this bike for a ride. So let's get this off of here and get it started up. I'll get suited up, and yeah, let's go for a spin. Okay, guys, let's go for a ride. We'll give her a go here and see what happens. Fingers crossed. Get the bike to go here. Just turn her on.
on the key and give her a kick, and yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, we got her going. Okay, we're going to give this a test, see what happens. First test is up the driveway. So far, so good there. Alrighty, so hopefully you can hear me okay. I got the wind. Tried to set the mic up so you can hear the bike and hear me. We'll find out if that works or not, but we'll give her a go. So far so good. The release on the clutch is quite near the very end of travel, which is not ideal, in my opinion. Others might disagree, but it's not really where I like to have it. So I don't know if there's anything that can be done on that. I did a little bit of looking online and already, and because I realized that back at home, and it doesn't seem to be a lot of consensus as how to adjust that release point, where you get the friction point on your clutch. So if any of you guys have ideas, please do let me know. I'd appreciate it very much. And because I would like it a little bit more mid-throw, if you will, or a little closer to the handle, perhaps. But so far so good here. So in case you guys are curious, if you're looking at the scenery around us here, we're on the west coast of Canada in British Columbia here. And yeah, it's a beautiful Mother's Day here today, although we're starting to get some cloud cover now, which is a little unfortunate because apparently there's still a chance of seeing the northern lights, the aurora borealis, and I don't think in this part of the world we're going to see it tonight because the clouds are coming in, which is pretty normal for us. There's a downshift. Seems to do that okay. There's something about, doing work on motorcycles that is very cathartic. At least it is when you get it fixed. This one still needs work, but I don't know what it is, but there is something cathartic about it. No question. And, was it the Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance? There's something to that, man, I tell you. Nothing like taking something that isn't working and getting it to work and then being able to enjoy it. So that's what I like to do anyways. So again, with this clutch, I've got the 500cc springs on it, and I did have to readjust it somewhat. I've actually got it adjusted. Initially, I had it adjusted on the flat, right at the bottom of the flats, but that definitely wasn't right. So I've readjusted it now, and actually have the bolts protruding through the nuts a little bit, and that seems to work okay. I'm kind of wondering whether I should have used 650 springs. Again, it's one of those things, there's so many opinions with these bikes that it's sometimes hard to know what the right thing to do is. But this is the 7-disc Aerco kit, and I'm just going to wait here for a moment, not in any rush. And a lot of guys said use 500 springs, so that's what I did. But I'm kind of thinking that it might be better with the 650 spring, although it seems pretty good. The jury's out because we haven't run the clutch yet. We probably need to put some mileage on this thing before we really know, right? So, yeah, I think that's probably the case. So, yeah, good.
Nice little MG there. I don't know if you can see the mountains over there, but those are the Golden Ears Mountains over there. We're going to head a little bit farther north here. Yeah, I still don't think the carburetion's quite right on this thing. And I don't think I'm going to get it right until I buy new carburetors for it. I think they're leaking air, and I think they're leaking air differentially, if that's the word. They're leaking different amounts of air, and it's really hard to get them dialed in. You know, I've tinkered with a lot of things with carburetors, and I'm generally pretty good at getting them going. But I know that these carburetors are leaking air because of the work we did on them in one of the prior videos. If you saw that craziness, yeah, it's not too many carburetors that get fixed with toothpaste. But these did, and they seem to run pretty good on crest, if I had to say so myself. Not too bad, but you know what, it's not perfect, and I don't think it's going to be perfect until I get new carbs, so, but, yeah. You know, off to our right there, that's, those are the Golden Ears Mountains. I don't know if you can see them on the right, but, yeah. And west coast of BC. We kept going here, we'd run into Pitt Lake, but we're not going to go quite that far today. So we've done a lot of things on this bike to fix her up. You know, we started with very basic things, you know, checking the points, checking the timing, checking the spark plugs, you know, moderately adjusting the carburetors, just the fuel air mixture and the, you know, and the throttle, the idle, I should say. So we did those few things, and then we, you know, we did the bouncy roads, so forgive my voice. But then we did the, you know, we did the major things that we did on were the oil pump. I mean, this bike had a really major wet something issue when we got it. It was just fill up the garage with blue smoke, and so we resolved that issue. And of course, put the new clutch in it. So we've done a lot of work on this bike. And, yeah. And she's a runner. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of a burble out of those carburetors, and I can just tell they're not quite working in sync. Despite all my efforts to get them to work in sync, so I think I'm going to have to bite the bullet and buy some carburetors. Now, there's lots of debate on that. Some guys put Makunis on these things. Some people swear by the Amel. This has got an Amel 930 Mark 1s on it. And then there's some knockoff Amels made by Wassel that, you know, you can judge people's reviews. Apparently they like them just as well, and they're, you know, like half the money. So I'd really appreciate, you know, your guys' thoughts on, okay, I'm going to buy the carbs. What carbs am I going to buy, right? So please do leave a comment in the comments box below on this, and because I'd be really interested in your thoughts. You know, it's a lot of money to put out if you want to get the right thing. For those of you that have watched the channel, you probably already know this, but for those of you that are relatively new or maybe just haven't heard me talk about it before, you know, I'm no mechanic, right? And this is my first Triumph motorcycle. I won't say what I do for a living, but let's just say it's an office job, and I've had that office job for decades. You know, I tickle the ivories for a living on the keyboard, not a piano, but the other type. And so I really don't know what I'm doing, I guess is what I'm telling you. I'm just, like my channel says, I'm a tinkerer, man, a mad tinkerman. Tinkering, Motoring, and Music is the name of the channel. And so again, I reply to every comment, and I appreciate all of them, the good, the bad, the not so good, the criticism, you know, the congratulations. I enjoy all of them, and I commit to replying to every one of you. And what's in it for me on that front is that I learned something. When you guys let me know what you're thinking, then that's an education for me, and I learn a little bit, and that's what it's all about for me. It's a journey here. It's a journey in more ways than one, not just riding the motorcycle or fixing it up, but also in terms of learning. And so, yeah, please do share your thoughts with me. I would really appreciate it. And yeah, I don't know. I think maybe at this point here, I think maybe we'll wrap this one up. I'm just going to enjoy the ride back home. So we're going to call it good here, and I hope you've enjoyed this little part of the video. Oh, I just see I had my turn signal on. You're probably screaming at your video there. You know, when I fixed up this Lucas turn signal right here, you know, I did fix it because it was completely broken. However, in fixing it, I seem to have destroyed the clicking mechanism, or there's no click. When you move it back and forth, you have no idea where it is. So I just have to try to generally guess that I've got it in the middle there, which is not ideal. But, yeah. Again, this bike is releasing right at the end of the throw. So, you know what? Let me know, guys, what I should do about that. I would really like it not to be right at the very end of the throw on the motorcycle where it releases. So do let me know what I can do about that. I'd really appreciate it. And as mentioned, we're gonna wrap this one up now, guys. So please do subscribe. If you haven't already subscribed, I would really, really appreciate it. And of course, like the video, and most of all, as you heard me talk, please do leave a comment. I really do appreciate it. Okay, guys, that's it for this one, and we'll catch you on the next one.